everyone. Welcome to the Seeds of Success podcast, hosted by Dottie San Martin and myself, Orly Rivera. This show is your weekly dose of knowledge, insights, and actionable tips to transform centers into striking successes. Whether you're a seasoned industry professional or just stepping onto the lanes, we've got you covered. Dottie, I am excited for today. How about you?
I am too, Orly. We have a topic today that, again, we're here. The idea of what we do is to just give you a little bit of information that makes you scratch your head and go, wow, you know what? That's right. Either I didn't think about that, or I haven't been doing that, or wow, okay, I'm going to give that some thought. So today is one of those topics, right?
Yeah. I mean, even with us, when we talk, we have meetings. We sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, we feed off each other. We might be strictly speaking about one thing. You mentioned something else, and then that takes me over here. And then before you know it, we have all these crazy ideas. And I think people are probably starting to think that we're crazy with all the stuff we come up with. But that's kind of what we're doing here. We're planting that little seed and hope that you could take it in, maybe the same direction we're leading you guys down, or maybe just a totally different way that opens up something else.
That's exactly right. So, Orly, there are customers literally everywhere. And so many times when we start thinking in the lines of customers, we're thinking about our local customers who, we have in our town that normally walk through our doors and frequent our center routinely, daily, we hope, multiple times a day even would be nice, right? But we generally, when we think of who our customer is, we're thinking about someone within a close proximity of our bowling center, right?
Yeah.
But what I want to talk about today is the fact that with the internet and websites and the ability to offer online reservations, your bowling center really has appeal to people all over the world.
Exactly, yeah.
And so you look at it when you go, or you have a family, when you go to another city on vacation, are you like me that you look ahead and you see what's in the area that you might be able to do when you get there?
Yeah, no, I do that all the time. And even now, working in the bowling industry, I like to look at bowling alleys. What bowling center is going to be there? And if I see they have something that I've never got to experience, I'm like, oh, cool, let's check this out when we go there. And I think, yeah, it definitely saves you time when you look, you look before you go, and you kind of get to plan out what you want to do. You let your kids see what you want to do. And yeah, it definitely helps when you can look online and get more information about places.
Yeah. And so, and so leading a customer to your website, when you have the ability to offer like an online reservation, number one, we recently had an episode about the convenience of being able to do things like that. But when you're able to offer online reservations and you're driving people to your website, be mindful that that is a door to the entire world. So make sure that your website is a true representation of what they are going to experience when they get into your center, because that's huge. That is, in many, many cases, that is their first impression of your center. What your website looks like. Are the pictures on there realistic, or is that the same set of lanes that they've seen in 5 other bowling center websites that they've gone to? Is it a stock image? So, making sure that your website is ready for that worldwide exposure is really, really important.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, if they're going on the website, like I said, I like to see things if I've never got to experience that. Sometimes I'm like, hey, let's go here, and we get to town. So for me, I'm a big arcade game. I like arcade games. If I'm looking at a bowling center and I see this big arcade in their photos, I'm like, hey, we're visiting there. But if I get there and walk in and there's like 3 games because they pulled this photo from some other website, I'm going to be a little disappointed.
You're exactly right. And that's how the experience starts, right?
Yeah.
And so, and the same thing goes with even language on your website. Keep in mind that your website is not just your door to your community. It's your door really to the world. And so make sure that you have language that helps them to get the full picture of what they're going to get when they get to your center. And, I know it's kind of hard to fathom that your website can actually, travel millions of miles, and it can actually bring in guests from all over. But keep in mind, especially if you are in a larger city, a city perhaps that has a Visitors and Conventions Bureau, and they're actively looking to bring in groups from, from all over the place. When those groups know that they're going to that particular city for a seminar or a convention, the event planner for that group typically is starting to do their search. And they're looking for, what can we do after all the educational sessions, right? Where can we take a couple of busloads of people to go have some fun afterwards? And you want to be able to show up in those searches. And so you want to have the language that it's going to draw people in. You're going to want to have, your searches set up to where you're easily found. And then have your offers if they're, if you want to have your online offers available, or if you want to drive those larger groups to a form that they can request additional information, or how you can customize an event for their needs, then, that's an option as well. So, but it's amazing what people look at your website. So I thought it's really fun for me to dive into like the Google Analytics to see where people are coming from and how they're finding certain pages, and what page are they entering in and what page are they exiting in. If you have a center website and you're not doing a deep dive into your statistics and looking at where your customers are coming from, if you take nothing away from this podcast today, but to get connected and learn a little bit more about where your customers are coming from and what are they doing on your website, certainly take 5 minutes and do that. So
yeah. And another thing, I think the way I think of it is, you don't want your center to be not, you don't want your center to not look good when people walk through that door. It's the same thing with your website. Why would you have a clean center, but on your website you got this messy looking center, or your pictures aren't matching things? Like, it should be the same thing. You should take as much pride in that website as you do your actual center. And this might be going over the top a little bit, but we know people that have centers that have had music videos filmed there. Maybe like a movie has been filmed there. Hey, open it up worldwide. If they're going on there looking for a bowling center in Texas, if they go to your website and they see these awesome pictures and they see what your center's really like, you never know what could come in there, or who's seeing your website. You just never know who's looking.
And you know what? You never know what keywords people are searching. And so, even some of the most bizarre things. So yeah, like, if you had something filmed there, be proud of it. Think through what you're putting in. And that's why I said, look at your statistics, because when you know what people are searching and how they're finding you, that shows you how crazy people are with how they search things, right? Mm-hmm. So you might be more creative when you're going in and setting up your site so that you're, found across the globe. But yeah, I think that, the other thing to remember is, even when you're setting up like your online reservations, make sure that your language is a representation of what they're going to experience when they get there, when you're describing the offering online, and make sure that your thumbnails that you present are a good representation of what that experience is going to be like. Because, and we've heard this saying so many times, a picture is worth 1,000 words. That is so true.
Yeah.
And especially when you're talking about people that have never been in your center before.
Yeah. And I think this could actually be a whole nother show, but taking this back to the way me and you met, you came across the center I was at and saw the video I posted that, ended up with 54 million views, not to brag or anything, but anyways, but yeah, so all those people from all over literally all over the world, there was people, putting comments in there in different languages. Like, you just never know who's seeing this. Or again, that could be a simple video you never think that might take off. And then before you know it, you have the whole world seen inside your center. So yeah, when you're posting those videos to TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, make sure, your center looks great. Make sure it is, it's top-notch looking the way you want everybody to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, Orly, that has my brain going in a completely different direction. Even to do some fun things when you do have your website where you want it, and do some fun things where you're getting that user-generated content from people that are coming in from different places in the world to your center. That's a fun promotion that you can run through your website, and it is engaging, and it really helps people to see, who you are and what your center is all about. So Yeah, I just think this is a great episode. Sometimes we just get so hung up on who our customer is and we think so small. Orly, there is nothing small about the way you and I think. We always think really, really big. And we want to encourage our listeners, to just open up your mind and realize that literally you have the world at your fingertips. Invite them into your center and let them see what they can experience. They may never step foot in your center, but it's kind of exciting to know that your center has been seen, in Australia or wherever. But it just opens up a lot of opportunity. But you never know where the next big group might be coming from. And even take it a step from there. And if you've got somebody coming in from out of town, if you are a customer that has the ability to change your language on your consoles or bring in beer that's, for that particular country or whatever, knock their socks off when they get there, because then they're going to go back and they're going to give wonderful reviews for you. Well, listeners, we thank you for being patient with Orly and I and letting us share with you some things that are our topics of conversation. We are constantly brainstorming. We're constantly looking at topics that come up on social media. And we want to give you all these little tidbits of things that you can think about to really help you take your center to the next level. Things we talked about today are really easy. Many of you are already doing it. But for those of you that aren't, look at your website through the eyes of an international customer or someone that's not in your area and see what you can do to make it where it's more inviting or is easier to find. Make sure that your offers are there and make sure that your online reservations are applicable to everything that you've got going on in your center and attractive for people to want to book. So, listeners, thank you very much for joining us today. We always encourage you to share these Seeds of Success episodes with your staff. We feel like we try to include something for everyone, whether you're the owner, the general manager, or the mechanic behind the wall. We hope that there's something that each and every one of your staff members can get out of this. So please go to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe, share it with your staff. And listeners, continue doing what you do best, and that's making bowling amazing. And in the long run, putting more money in your register. Until next time, see you later.